My stepmom just told me she has my dad all to herself, and there's nothing that I can really do about it. Well, you know what? There is something I can do about it, because I discovered she has a lover. It's not my father. He's a lot younger, and I know every single detail, and I'm here to expose it.
Help! How do I cope with a stepmother who seems bent on destroying my relationship with my father? Well, I'm coming to you guys with this problem because I'm sure that I'm not the only one with the problem, right? I really don't want to go to drastic measures and treat my stepmother the way she's been treating me. She makes my dad happy and he loves her. He also loves me, and I would not want to break his heart by having him choose between the two of us. But I'm struggling when it comes to getting along with her. I'm sure that I'm not the only person who has gone through this, and I would like some tips on how to better get along with her, or at least tolerate her. But guys, let me tell you everything so that you have an understanding of the context. My mother passed away when I was in my early teens, leaving me with my dad. My father stepped up for both parents and raised me to be a healthy young woman. I've had good grades, I'm well behaved, and I'm generally happy. There was nothing that was lacking in my life all in the years that my father was looking after me. You see, he worked very hard to make sure that I had the best in everything. Because of him, I'm able to pursue my dream of becoming an engineer. When I turned 18, I moved out of the house and went to college. I stayed close enough to see my father whenever I wanted. When I was 19, my dad told me that he had a friend to introduce me to. Well, she was someone that he respected a lot and had worked with him on one of his projects. He felt that I would get along well with her. My father has never introduced his work friends to me, so I found it a little suspicious, but I agreed to meet this lady because he spoke so highly of her. I was also glad that he had a friend to spend time with since I was not home that much. When I met this lady, whom I'll call Eve, I could sense that there was something more going on between them. I didn't really have that much of an opinion of her, so I reserved my judgment. However, she started to come to our house for dinner more and more, and I started to get to know her more intimately. Well, I soon discovered that I did not like her. I'm quiet and a simple person, but she, on the other hand, can be a bit over the top. A lot of our values simply did not align. For my father's sake, however, I decided just to respect her. I could not expect him to date someone just like my mom. I was just glad about how he had a newfound life in him. This is one thing that I can give her credit for. She managed to awaken him, and suddenly he seemed younger than before. Soon they told me that they were going to get married, and I gave them my blessing since I was on a cordial term. She put me in the bridal party even though I did not want to be in it. I would have rather wanted to be just a spectator. Because of that, she was always taking up my weekends with her endless fittings. She was fussy, constantly telling me to lose more weight, and just being mean to me. That's when I started to really dislike her. I never asked to be a part of her wedding party. What did she have to treat me like I was stupid for? I decided then that we were never going to be friends, and either way, I managed to survive Bridezilla until the wedding rehearsal, guys. Well, right after the rehearsal, we had a family dinner. Our extended family and hers were present during it, and I needed to use the ladies' restroom at some point, so I excused myself. I entered a stall, and just as I did, I heard my stepmother's voice. She was talking to someone, but nobody was responding, so I went to open up the door. And I saw that she was talking to someone on the phone. She was looking down so she didn't see me in the mirror. I overheard part of what she said, and oh my gosh, alarm bells started ringing in my head. She was telling someone that they better not contact her until after the honeymoon. She then looked up and caught me staring. At first, her eyes widened, but then she smiled at me as if nothing happened. She complimented me on my dress choice, and then she left the bathroom. The way she quickly hung up the phone told me that there was more to this, and I decided just to brush it off. So that's what I did. I brushed it off, and I was already tired of the dinner and needed to head back so that I could finish my project. Well, I excused myself from dinner and I left. I didn't think about the incident again. It's been on my mind a lot lately, but I'll tell you why later. They got married without a hitch and have been staying together since then, and I'm still studying but recently came back home for the holidays. I miss my father a lot, so hey, I just planned a lot of father-daughter activities. My dad's been working remotely lately and he is an executive at a company, but he requested to work remotely because he wants to spend more time with his family, you know. Well, I've been unable to get my dad to do anything with me because Eve always butts in. She claims that she wants to spend quality time with me, but we both know that she's a fat liar. She just wants to have my father all to herself. She's been making my time here hell, and it's clear that she wants me to leave the house so that she's all alone with my father. Because of that, I've been keeping to myself even though she's been doing things to inconvenience me. For example, she recently replaced all of my mother's china and put it in the basement. She then started removing all of her pictures. When I protested, she said that it made her feel bad and like she was never going to have a place in the family. Dad said that he was sorry about it and that he was going to ask her to do it gradually. And since then, she's been making snide comments about how I will never ever grow up. My dad doesn't catch what she's saying because she says it in such a charming way, but it's not lost on me. But guys, that's nothing compared to what she did recently. Usually our helper cooks and I cook, or my father cooks. Well, my stepmother's cooking is, not that good, and nobody ever asks her to cook. Because of that, I have to know what everyone in the house eats, and so does everyone else who touches the pots. One day, I found out that she's been practicing her cooking, and she made some food for us, and I just decided to give her food a try. Well, I actually enjoyed it. After I was done, I even thanked her, but she didn't reply. She just gave me a dirty look. I asked if I've done anything wrong, and she asked why I didn't finish my food. Guys, the only thing left on the plate was some lettuce. She's the one who dished up for me, which was different from what I usually do. I just told her that I don't eat lettuce, and had forgotten to tell her that. Well, she told me that that's silly and that I should eat the lettuce because it was fresh, good for me, and would balance out all the carbs. Well, I told her, no, I would rather not. She then said that from now on she will not cook because it appears that I'm such an ungrateful brat. I felt myself getting angry and preparing to tell her a word or two, but I decided to just stand up and leave without even saying another word. So, some minutes later, my father knocked on the door. He said that he did not appreciate the way I spoke to her, and he claimed that she was very upset by my words. He told me that she was not used to being a mom. She was still trying, and I told him that I did not need her to be my mom. I just needed her to respect my choices. Well, my dad asked me to please try, and I said that I would. But guys, to be honest, I feel like going back to campus where there's no drama like this. Update number 1. Would you believe that later on that night, when my dad had fallen asleep, my stepmother came to talk to me? I should not have answered the door and just ignored her. But I stupidly thought that she was going to apologize. I had no such luck. She had come to my room to finish off our little discussion. She told me to listen, not interrupt her or talk over her until I understood. She told me that I was a grown woman, already in college and over the legal age. I didn't need to stay at home and spend all my time with my father like I did not have a life. I also did not need to be causing problems in her marriage. She did not appreciate that. She then told me to underestimate the love between her and her dad. He was hers now, and she was more important to him than I was. She needed me to back off, know my place, and stop meddling in her relationship. If I could do that, then she and I would not have a problem. Well, I wasn't in the mood for her, so I just told her that, what she wanted to hear. And she left. When she left, I was fuming, guys. How dare she barge into my room and tell me about the rules in my own father's house? I've been very respectful and hospitable to her, even though I hated the sight of her. If I really wanted to act like a brat, I would, and she would not be able to handle that. She really thinks that she can control my father and have power over him. She's dreaming. Little does she know the little things about her that I've been noticing. For example, earlier when she was cooking, she kept getting phone calls, but she declined the calls and she only answered one of them when she exited the kitchen, going all the way out to the patio. So when I tried to follow her, I found out that she locked the door leading to it, and it just makes me think of how she's always so jumpy when her phone's ringing. It makes me think about, well, who might be calling her. I had other things on my plate and she was not the focus, but now she is the focus, and she should have never threatened me like that. But now I'm going to find out what she's hiding, and if it's not good, then I'm going to make sure that my father finds out about it too. As they say, all is fair in love and war. Update number 2. Guess what I found in the mail? It's like the universe really wanted me to find out, well, what that woman is. For a parcel that was addressed to her accidentally ended up with me. It was delivered this morning while she was out of the house. So I signed up for it but was not going to open it. That's until I read the card that was pasted onto the parcel and was intrigued as to what was in it. I know, I should not open parcels that don't belong to me, and I kind of find that it's hard to respect my stepmother right now. So I think that it's fair for me to do that. She has certainly not been respecting my privacy lately. I mean, can you believe that after she scolded me to back off, she started to raid my wardrobe? She then tried to make it a whole thing where we wore each other's clothes because we were the same size, and she's desperate trying to cling to her youth, and guys, it really shows. But I'm getting carried away, I really am. Back to the note that was signed to a certain gentleman named Jake, and he wrote, "Early birthday present to my XXX." I knew that something wasn't right, so I went up to my room before anybody caught me with the package, and once I was upstairs, I carefully opened up her gift, and lo and behold, the gift from her friend. However, I'm not sure what sort of male friend sends his female friend red lingerie and a bottle of red wine. I recognized the bottle as one of the pricier ranges, and when it came to my wines, I know them pretty well. And this is a costly bottle. Clearly, this Jake was her secret admirer. But how far did the admiration go? I mean, did it end there, or did it extend to her reciprocating it? That is what I pondered about as I looked at her gifts. I'm not going to give them to her yet. I'm going to continue to observe her and see if she starts acting differently. If she was expecting that gift, then she's going to start looking for it. Therefore, I've hid it into my secret little compartment, which needs a special combination to lock it. My mom had made me, after I read too many books and begged her to have it made for me. Ever since then, it's been where I hide anything, and I don't want my dad to see. She's actually just arrived now, so let me go and sit in front of her. Look like I'm busy with some schoolwork and observe her as I give you real-time updates. Okay, right now she's putting away all of the clothes that she brought with my father's money. She tries so hard to show that she has money. She can never have that distinct class that my mom had. It's strange because she claims that she comes from a quite well-off family. Now she's walking around and ordering our helper Patricia around. She's making her redo things that are already perfect, and I'm just biting my tongue right now. If I open my mouth, I'll tell her not to bother. Update number 3. Hey guys, I'm back after just a few hours. I had just enough time to save my last update before she was upon me and asking me if anything was delivered for her today. Well, I told her that nothing that I saw, but she could go ask Patricia, so she went to ask Patricia, who told her that nothing came. She said that it's been a mistake because something was supposed to be there. She asked Pat if it were not paying her enough that she was now stealing from us. Well, I told her that maybe there's just a delay. I heard that there was a workers' strike with one of the delivery companies. So I told her that I was still waiting on some materials for a project to be delivered today. But there was no word yet, and I wanted to lure her into a false sense of security. If she knew that I had her things, then she could spin whatever lie she wanted to on my dad. Chances are that he's going to believe her and be very disappointed in me. I'm not going to let that happen before I have proof just yet. Instead, I'm going to act normally while I gather evidence, and then I'm going to reveal everything to my dad. She better hope that she's innocent because I'm gunning for her. I mean, after what she did, I just want to cry. Remember that I told you she was always in my room? Yeah. And it was getting very much annoying. I had already started to lock my room, forcing her to have to ask anything that she needed from me. Clothes are not a big deal to me as long as she brings them back, washed and dried. Well, guess who went and stretched out the dress I was supposed to be wearing for an interview for a very important internship? Yup. Well, it was my nicest dress, my lucky dress that used to belong to my mom, and I spent years saving that dress for the day that I could fit into it. And now she's done this. The worst part is that this is a 1 in a million dress with special stitching. The shops that sell dresses like this are now extinct, and I would have to find a highly skilled person to fix this, and there's just no guarantee that, well, have it looking the way it was before. Oh, and the best part, I never allowed her to borrow this dress. I could not find it in my wardrobe, so I went to check in hers and found it stuffed in the back. Obviously, I lost it and straight up confronted her. Obviously, right? Well, she told me that she would give me money just to go buy a new one. A new one? Why was I crying over that old rag? Well, I told her that was my mother's old rag. Just as my father walked in and saw what she had done, he was bewildered. He knew that the dress meant a lot to me. He then told her that maybe she should stop wearing my clothing. He could get her all the new clothes that she wanted, and she just looked down, humbled for the first time. My father was rarely this strict with her, and he never told her no, but now she was out of line. I mean, how could she destroy something that belonged to my mom? Yeah, she really needs to leave. Everything of mine that she touches, she absolutely destroys, and I don't want to leave it to the point where my father is the one that she destroys. Guess this is an incentive for me to work harder to find out her secrets. I feel like drinking her expensive wine since she ruined my dress. Update number 4. Hey guys, and thank you so much for your words of consolation after what she did to my dress, and trust me, I was not okay after all of it. I had to wear something else for the interview that day. It was also one of the last 2 days at the house before I had to go back to school. Before I left, I grabbed hold of her phone while she was not looking, and then I unlocked it. Before you ask, I've been keeping an eye on Eve for so long, and I finally found out her password, which was pretty simple. It was her birth year. I know some of you are judging now, and I saw a comment where someone felt that I was trying to make a drama show out of thin air, because I could not accept the fact that my father moved on with his life. I'll let you know that there are signs that she's up to no good, and I didn't mind the fact that my father moved on. In fact, I was more than happy for him because it meant that he would be less lonely. I don't know, she's just not the right person for him, you know what I mean? Well, the least that she can do is be loyal and respect his family, and she fails to do that. She's made an enemy out of me, and I am going to expose her. Well, it's a week until her birthday, guys, and I don't know. Evidence is just piling up. I've been using every free moment that I have to investigate my suspicions. A lot of things have become clear to me since then. I plan to reveal all this to my father soon, and in fact, I plan to do it at her birthday party so that I can see the look on her face. She's going to be so embarrassed, she'll wish that she never met me. If there's one thing that no one can mess with, it's my father's feelings. She's been playing with them and being dishonest, therefore I feel that she deserves whatever is coming to her. I've been planning this for the past couple of weeks. You know, stick around, because the next time I post an update, I'll be telling you all the details of how I exposed her. Well, who dare tell me that I'd lost my dad to her? She may be older and think that she's smarter, but she has nothing on me. Stay tuned, it's going to get very ugly, and I'm going to make sure that you feel like you're in the front seat. Update 5. Join me in saying happy birthday to my stepmom, everyone. She claimed that it would be the most beautiful birthday that she could have ever had. I had told her that she would never forget it, and I made sure to keep my promise. She'll never forget that birthday, not in the near future, and she'll also never forget my present. It was my best work yet. I really think that I'm in the wrong career. Should have been in a film and photography. Okay, now let us get to why I'm even writing this. Her birthday. Her birthday started off normal. All of her friends were there and it was overly expensive. She was grinning the whole time and she got expensive gifts and expensive gift after each other. Then it came time for me to give her the present that she deserved. I told her that I actually made her a video. I felt that we might have gotten off on the wrong foot, but now I was starting to see her true self. As this was happening, I sent the picture to my dad. They were pictures and screenshots of the conversation with Jake, her young lover, whom she's been seeing since before she married Dad. The most important part was that she said, something about Dad. She told her boyfriend that she had just to stay married to him so that they could benefit, but she was sure the old man was going to croak anytime soon. Jack then made fun of my father and said that he looked like her grandpa. She then made plans with him and had very, very specific conversations with him about how we were, I'm not going to get into it. So I watched my dad read these with a neutral expression upon his face. He made to go to her and his face looked thunderous, but I stopped him. I told him that there's more. He just needed to let me handle this, and he told me do whatever I want, but this party's over. And then he left. Well, she called after him, but he didn't answer, and she then had the nerve to ask me what I said to him and why he was like that, so I just pressed play on the projector, and suddenly all of her dirty business was aired out for everyone. It was a free show for all of 20 seconds before she threw something that I could not see on the projector. It glitched and stopped working, but everyone saw what kind of woman she was. She went straight up to me, ready to attack, but I already had something for her. First, I threw the lingerie at her face and asked her if this was what she was looking for. She stood still as if I stuck her to the floor. She asked me how I even had that parcel. It was not addressed to me and I had no right to open it, so I told her the same way she's felt comfortable going through my wardrobe. Then I had every right to go through her mail. She told me that she was going to hurt me, but then Patricia, our helper, called her, and she told her that there's one last thing in the gift box that she needed to see. Oh man, the look of horror on her face was priceless. She snapped at her and asked her what it was. Was she the one who helped me steal her mail? Patricia smiles and said of course. She would not steal her mail since she was such a good employee of hers. She then handed her the empty wine bottle that was in the box, which Pat and I polished off. I'd wanted Pat to throw it all over her. She was wearing a nice cream color as well, but we decided, that might be a bit too dramatic. I know this woman cheated on my father and did a lot of horrible things. Surely she deserved it if we were a bit dramatic? But nah, there's no way that I was going to waste some perfectly good wine on her. So she shrieked and asked Pat where the wine was. Well, this was a collector's wine that's been aged for over 50 years. Getting one's hand on it was nearly impossible, and I just smiled and told her that I polished it off, and you know what? It did taste very good. She called me a brat, and the next thing I knew, the wine bottle was headed towards my head. I ducked and dodged, and I hit the pillar behind me. Suddenly, my father's voice shouted that it's enough as he returned to the show. He told every single person to leave, and they did. He then went up to her and asked her if she was insane and that she should never think about putting a hand on his precious daughter ever again. He would make sure if she did that she spends the nights in jail. So guys, she tried to explain that I stole from her, but he wasn't having it. He asked if it was really stealing when, that was a gift from her lover. Technically, it was his wine bottle because he saw the chats where she laughed about sending her lover his money. He then told her that he had just been on the phone with his accountant, who found out that she's been making transfers to a suspicious account. He told her to pack all her rags and leave. If she didn't do so, he was going to get security to throw her out, because obviously she's nothing more than a gold digger, and a disgrace to all women. He thought that she was different, but clearly she was not. She went down on her knees and begged him not to do it. She told him that everything was AI generated and that it was all part of a video that showed her cheating. She was truly crafty. My dad, however, is not a fool. He believed the truth and had her out of the house before the end of the night. After that, he told me that he needed time alone. I could see that he was heartbroken, and it really did break my heart. He loved her and trusted her, yet this is how she replied to him? I'll hate her for what she did for all my life. She gave my father false hope only to snatch it away. I mean, what kind of human does that to another? She should have just left him alone and been with her little Jakey boy.